Thanks so much for that, Emily. And you may need a case of the warm and fuzzies to keep you toasty today because the weather we're experiencing anything but. If you told me that the first Monday of spring I'd be sporting my warmest parka, I wouldn't have wanted to believe you, especially after the February that we dealt with. Of course, the lingering winter being felt right throughout the east, evidence the wind chills we're dealing with, or the blowing snow. Luckily, things today looking calm. We have sun and cloud, but Toronto had to actually issue an extreme cold weather alert. By tomorrow, a bit of an improvement. We head to 1 degree. Certainly not the +7 that we should be at. Wednesday, we actually make it there and even bump above seasonal, but it comes at a compromise. We have the system moving in for the morning commute. We are watching because it could start as freezing drizzle and then it'll transition to rain. And here's why. You can see the ridge and the jet stream allowing this milder air to funnel in from the south for midweek. And it's a brief warm-up as we head into Thursday, back to the cold conditions with lingering showers, cold on Friday, and that's because the jet stream takes another turn, sags down with this ridge, allowing all this cold Arctic air to sink to the south. So unfortunately, the warm-up on Wednesday will be short-lived. Thanks, Chris. I personally don't know if getting that golden snow shovel will really make up for the lingering winter conditions. Look at this. Our must-see video takes us to Newfoundland, where the first Monday of spring, but it's feeling like anything but. Joining Michelle Mackey now out in the elements. Thanks, Michelle, and actually a big thank you to Michelle because earlier today I needed a pair of mittens and somehow lingering cold temperatures and I lost one of mine. One mitten would not have done me well today, so thank you for lending me a pair. Luckily, clear conditions today. I know we were dealing through the weekend with lake effect snow bands, if you can believe it, off the Huron shores, but you can see not much activity until we hit Wednesday. That's the next system that we are watching. We'll see this moisture push in big low, and the concern is that right in time for the morning commute, this low could mean freezing drizzle. Everything will transition to rain, and I'll show you why. It all has to do with your temperature story. So you can see a big jump here. Tuesday, sun and cloud at 1 degree. By Wednesday, we're sitting at 9, and you see rain on your icon. But again, I do want to caution, we could see a period of that freezing rain in the morning hours. We dry out heading in toward the weekend, but watch what returns. Below seasonal temperatures. Looks like we're not putting away the winter gear anytime soon. Wednesday in Hamilton, 10 degrees. Again, wet weather in through Thursday, and can't rule out some flurries as we head through the rest of the week. Thanks for that, Mike, and I'm sure we'll have many great Earth Day stories leading up to the 22nd, both here on TV and at theweathernetwork.com. Must-see video, though. Have you been dreaming of somewhere warm, picturesque? Well, let's travel to Phoenix, Arizona, and we love seeing your photos and videos. Now, today will be a story about the cold conditions, definitely not feeling like spring. We head outside to Michelle Mackey. Thanks, Michelle. So that begs the question, is spring in our forecast? Well, not quite. Heading into Tuesday, yes, we're 1 degree above that freezing mark, calm conditions, but we should be sitting at +7. That happens for us on Wednesday. The trade-off, this messy mix, we have this low pressure system moving in. We have the potential in the morning hours of seeing a period of freezing rain, timing for the commute before everyone transitions to rain. Where's the milder air coming from? Well, you can see this ridge in the jet stream allowing that milder air to fuel up from the south, but into Thursday, we're back to colder conditions, some lingering showers, and then cold as well on Friday. Unfortunately, as you can see, a look ahead to later this week, that cold air returning from Arctic air mass. Well, that's not just fair. I just had to follow puppies there. Can't really top that, especially when I'm talking about the cold. Krissy Vann joining you. And yeah, it really did not feel spring-like as we headed to the latter half of this weekend. I know along the Huron shores, we were dealing with lake effect snow. And as you can see here, and for Newfoundland, that blowing snow is still a concern. The question is, do you prefer that or the extreme cold that we're dealing with? Well, it's going to feel like -12 at that bus stop in the morning. So our sunshine's not really doing us much good. Warmer temps ahead, which I'll dive into in a moment. We do want to look at this afternoon. Some good news for you. If you were traveling along those Huron shores, we don't see that threat of lake effect today. It's going to be relatively calm until we head into midweek, where we see this low moving in. We're really watching this one because by the morning commute through the GTA, we could be looking at periods of freezing rain, transitioning to rain later in the day, but freezing rain, not a good recipe if you're ever traveling in the morning commute. It's bad on a perfectly sunny summer day. Looking ahead for Toronto, though, this is what I mean with temperatures. You bump up to 9 degrees on your Wednesday. You stay warmish on Thursday at 5, and then we dip right back down into next weekend. So definitely definitely don't pack away the winter gear yet, because yes, Hamilton, you'll be 10 on your Wednesday, but cooling right off with a -2 as we head into Friday. Not quite that 7 degrees that we should be. Thanks for that, Chris. The reality is that the spring sunshine can only do so much to keep things warm. With these cold conditions that we're dealing with, the sun really not making you feel any warmer than you should be this time of year. Must-see video, of course, we love seeing your photos and videos, and then you never know, you could end up a must-see. But of course, any photos from today, well, they're just going to remind you of how frigid and winter-like it is. And for more on that, we head outside to Michelle Mackey. Well, there you have it. Some silver lining in there, but it's hard to believe March 23rd and the city of Toronto yet again had to issue an extreme cold weather alert. Looking at Tuesday, though, we're going to bump up to 1 degree. Woohoo! Not quite the 7 that we should be. Mix of sun and cloud, calm conditions. Wednesday, we get warmer, but we're going to be dealing with this, a low pressure system moving in that could potentially impact the morning commute with freezing drizzle before transitioning to rain. Well, why the transition? Some good news with our temperature story. We have this milder air pushing in from the south and this ridge in the jet stream allowing it to come in. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't last, because what happens to Thursday, we have colder conditions, lingering showers, cold on Friday as well, and this is why. The jet stream then sinks to the south, allowing all this Arctic air to move on in. So as a result, that high of 9 on Wednesday is going to be rather short-lived. Thanks so much for that, Mike. And of course, if we all take one small step working together, it can make a big difference. You can expect some more great Earth Day stories as the 22nd approaches. Look at this, though. I know many have been thinking of traveling, getting away from. Of course, we love seeing your photos and videos. You can share them with us at theweathernetwork.com. And of course, tweet us. I'd love to know how you're feeling with the cold conditions. We head outside now to Michelle Mackey. Yeah, it's a task today for sure. I know the city of Toronto actually had to issue yet again an extreme cold weather alert. Will there be relief? Well, we'll tell that story in a moment, like -12. So make sure the kiddies are nice and bundled up. The good news is the compromise, we have clear skies, and over the weekend we were dealing with lake effect bands. Lake effect. Just because of the northwesterly winds, that's all cleared up though. And as we make our way into midweek, that's when we're watching the next system. As this low moves in the morning commute in Toronto, we could be dealing with a period of freezing rain before transitioning to just plain rain. And I'll show you why. Our temperature story has everything to do with it. By Tuesday at 1 degree, feeling like -2. We had above seasonal to 9 degrees on Wednesday. That warm up short-lived though. The rain moves out, and then the cold temperatures, well, they're making a return.
These are the developing stories this hour. We have our preparations underway right now for storm watch across the prairies. This cold is getting very, very old. And the next round for BC is on the way. Cheryl Plouffe and Krissy Vann with you. Across southern Manitoba, we've seen some active weather today. It's been causing some problems on the roads.
It really has. I mean, along the Trans-Canada, we've had reports of a lot of accidents. Brandon, Manitoba has already picked up quite a few centimeters of snow. And let's face it, through the prairies, it's been relatively quiet through the winter season.
Yeah, we haven't had very much active weather, nor is there very much snow on the ground, which is why we are talking about watching this storm very intently, because this is going to be a deepening low pressure system. It's organizing itself and bringing a lot of snowfall. We could be looking at in excess. Not really all that accustomed to seeing this so far this season.
Sure, and another thing we're not necessarily happy to see this season, the cold temperatures in Ontario. For more, here's Michelle Mackey. Like we saw this morning and through the afternoon, yeah, there's sunshine, but it's not doing much to warm us up.
And just to mention that Toronto, this is the 39th extreme cold weather alert, which is 3 more than last year, to put that into perspective. So we've been dealing with the cold in the east. However, that is going to be moderating a little bit by the end of the week, a little bit. Eastern Canada, on the other hand, we're seeing near seasonal temperatures by about the midweek, but there is another system that's on the way that could be bringing possibly even some more rain and some mixing in the east later on Friday, Thursday.
Yeah, some overcast skies to deal with, and we're going to be seeing some lingering showers through the day. It's as you head toward Chilliwack where we are going to see the heavier rainfall amounts yet to come.
Yeah, I mean, no epic rains expected here, but the system moving across the prairies. But the concern more so is for southern Saskatchewan, and eventually even some freezing rain could even be making its way into southern Manitoba with that. So that's definitely worth watching. And then high pressure for the rest of the week.
Well, there you go. And just in time for spring, more wintry weather on the way for pretty much almost every province. Krissy Vann joining you, and you can see the shot behind me here. This is looking at the Yellowhead Trail in Edmonton. Of course, you were dealing with snow over the weekend, picking up about 5 centimeters in Edmonton and Calgary today, but the area to watch is up in Jasper, Hinton. That's where you're under a snowfall warning, so really ramping up through the afternoon and through the overnight where you could pick up that 10 to 20 centimeters. A look at your radar here, and you can see heading up in through Lethbridge, looking at that snow east of Red Deer as well. And the big one to watch has been in Manitoba. RCMP in Manitoba have been tweeting out about the slippery road conditions. I know there were quite a few problems on the Trans-Canada with the snow that we've been seeing, but this isn't the big system to watch quite yet. That is what's to come. As we head to the pre-dawn hours on Tuesday, we're really going to be watching in southern Saskatchewan. We could see along this front here in through southeastern Saskatchewan that warm air overriding and causing a period of freezing rain. The rest all falling as snow, and then this starts to transition into Manitoba's story as we head through Tuesday into Wednesday. Looking through Wednesday, the totals, you can see the heaviest amounts in through that Saskatoon, Regina, heading into Manitoba as well, 10 to 20 plus centimeters. Hello, winter. You avoided it almost all winter long, and now it's spring, and you get to see the winter-like conditions. Of course, we love seeing your photos and videos. You can upload them to theweathernetwork.com. Wind chills felt like the minus 20s in some areas this morning, and I know Toronto had to actually issue yet another extreme cold alert. This is what it shapes out to be this afternoon. Mix of sun and cloud, minus 10 in Collingwood, minus 3 in Sarnia, minus 3 in Toronto. So that sunshine that you're seeing, not doing much to keep you warm. Through Quebec, you've been feeling the chill as well. Minus 7 in Montreal, minus 5 in Halifax, minus 4 in St. John's, where you're looking at the lingering flurries. But as we head into Newfoundland, you can see the wind was spent in Atlantic Canada, but the wind gusts were so impressive. Winds are what really are causing the problems through the day today. We still have some very gusty conditions in some areas where we're getting into that pink through the afternoon. That's exceeding 60 kilometers an hour, but it does start to diminish as we make our way into tomorrow. So that is some good news. What we are watching through the day today, though, western shores of Newfoundland dealing with that potential sea effect snow. So adding to what you've already been seeing, that could be another 5 to 10 centimeters. Coming up, we'll have your local forecast breakdown. You should be sitting at 3. And what you can see looking at this temperature map, the cold air just sagging to the south, that cold Arctic air. I mean, it was minus 2 in the city of Toronto, and the city of Toronto actually had to issue an extreme cold weather alert. Yet again, first Monday of spring. How about that? Heading into Tuesday, we continue to see the colder conditions, but things really start to transition for the east as we make our way into Wednesday before dipping back down to the cold. The west is going to tap into some of that warm sector as we get to late week. In fact, Calgary, you could potentially be sitting at 17 degrees, but this is the system that we're watching right now. Moving through the prairies, we have the potential of some heavy snowfall. Saskatoon, Regina could be looking at 10 to 20 plus centimeters, and periods of freezing rain as well involved. So we'll be heading into storm watch coverage.